Hello there, happy holidays, salutations. I'm going to discuss today a little bit about a book, a very good book, which I've mentioned before, by Robert Melillo, about from the autism spectrum disorder industry, as opposed to the developmental disorder / complex post-traumatic stress disorder industry, which involves cluster B personalities. A little bit about right brain personalities, who tend to be, and left cognitive behaviours and thought characteristics, personalities, the sort of occupations they do. Teachers are actually more right brain, supposedly. Those wonderful police of the brain. I do use sarcasm. But you need it to be communicative. And yes, there are a lot less men in teaching now because of gender politics. Maybe a lot of them work in IT, I don't know. Gender politics and narcissistic parenting probably have played a part. Babying children, neglecting boys and men. And you don't want to know. I mean, a man working with children doesn't always sound good, even though women can be sex offenders too. But where was I? Right brain traits: charisma, singing, songwriting, art, creativity. The things I'm interested in, that interest me, getting on to new things. New things interest me. That's a right brain trait. From the age of 16, I've tried to, I write poetry. From the age of 16, I wanted to be in a band. I had an electric guitar, or more than one guitar, and didn't do very well with it. Unfortunately, couldn't form a band. Got a good voice though. Eventually culminated years later in me joining a male voice choir. I did this side as well. And rather reactionary group, really, conservative, backward, culturally toxic in Liverpool, but not everybody's cup of tea. Sing a lot in churches, so there's pathology for you as well. We can all have a go at religion, but maybe there's a reason for it. Maybe you've got a fucking point if you do. Pardon my French. Say your dad says when you're 16, I'd really like to have been a Rolling Stone, that would have been fun. And that might sound quite reasonable, because we sort of think, who wouldn't want to be a rock star, and who wouldn't want to be a film star, and who wouldn't want to be this? But there's a bit of a gulf between the sort of person who is creative enough to do that, like a black sheep such as myself, a creative soul like so many of you out there, who are underneath it all a scapegoat for their family and friends, and in a wider society, the neighbourhood, wherever, the workplace. There is a gulf. Usually if you say you want to be, logic would dictate, we might not always point it out, but logic would dictate that if you want to be, you consider yourself like a rock star, seriously, genuinely, then you would have to be a bit like them yourself. You would have to have a bit of showmanship. You would have to have a good voice. You would have to have an interest in music that you would continue to pursue. Narcissists will never develop their potential unless they think they're going to get something specific out of it from someone else, unless they think they know that it can make them look good at somebody else's expense, unless they can take off somebody else, they've got just enough skill, they can get through and do it. They can't do it if they're not very good at it, and they won't try and get any better at it. Voila.